We all grew up thinking Darth Vader was the ultimate tragic figure, a broken man, a fallen hero, a walking metaphor for emotional damage in a cool helmet. And then Kenobi came along and basically said, nah, he's just evil now. And not even the interesting kind, like serial killer evil. Like snap-a-kid, single quotes as -neck-2-make-a-point evil. For years we've blamed the dark side, Palpatine's manipulation, Obi-Wan's failure, even Padme's death, like he was just some sad boy on fire who never caught a break. But watching Kenobi, it's like someone peeled back the mask and went, yeah, there's no Anakin left. This dude is a full-blown psychopath who uses the Force the way a cat uses claws. And look, I get it, it's Darth Vader. He's supposed to be scary. But this isn't the same guy who stood silently on the Death Star and said ominous things in James Earl Jones's voice. This one's dramatic, angry, violent, theatrical. It's like if Michael Myers started monologuing while also having a lightsaber, and I kind of love it and hate it, all at once. But the wild part is, the show doesn't try to sugarcoat any of it. It doesn't nudge you and go, hey, he's still got some good in him. It just lets him be terrifying. Unapologetically. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't second guess. He just murders civilians while Obi-Wan watches in horror like he's seeing a nightmare come to life, because he is. And that duel, that brutal rematch in the dark, with sparks flying and emotions breaking, and Vader basically saying you didn't fail me. I killed Anakin, that hit like a train. Not just because of the delivery, but because deep down we all realized, he wanted this. This wasn't some fall from grace. This was a sprint into hell, with the door left wide open. In this video, we're diving into how Kenobi finally shattered the myth of Darth Vader being a tragic antihero, how it stripped away the sympathy and replaced it with raw dread, and why that makes him not just cooler or scarier, but way more honest, and honestly, way more horrifying. So, what if everything we thought about Darth Vader was wrong? What if he wasn't just a tragic antihero in a cool mask? What if Kenobi showed us the truth we didn't want to face? That Vader isn't the product of pain. He's the result of choice. For years, we've watched him through the lens of sympathy. A fallen Jedi, betrayed by love, twisted by fear, left in agony on the lava banks of Mustafar. And yeah, that part's still true. But Kenobi peels back that armor and shows us something darker, something colder. He's not limping through life as a victim. He's stalking it like a predator. That scene in the village, where he just snaps a kid's neck for no reason. That wasn't strategy. That was cruelty. The way he drags innocent civilians through the dirt just to mess with Obi-Wan. That's not a Sith tactic. That's sadism. You don't get to call that the will of the Force. That's just evil on full display. And what's wild is that the show doesn't try to justify it. There's no but deep down he's hurting. There's no Padme would have stopped him flashback. It just lets Vader be a monster. No strings, no excuses. No more hiding behind tragedy. That's what hooked me. That eerie realization that maybe Darth Vader was never a warning about what fear can do. Maybe he was a warning about what power lets you get away with. Here's where I start to get annoyed. Because for decades we've let the prequels soften Vader. We kept treating him like he was a wounded boy in a big scary suit. As if burning on Mustafar gave him a lifelong hall pass to be awful. But Kenobi basically steps in and says, hey, maybe the guy who forces naps necks isn't secretly nice. And let's talk about that duel in episode 3. Obi-Wan's barely holding a lightsaber, and Vader just starts tossing him into the fire like barbecue leftovers. No hesitation, no mercy. He literally drags his old friend through the flames for the fun of it. That's not revenge. That's pure, unfiltered malice. The frustrating part is how long we spent making excuses for him. Oh, he's conflicted. He's still got light inside him. Meanwhile, the guy is casually murdering people and throwing tantrums with his fists. How is that conflict? That's a war crime. And don't even get me started on the hallway scene from Rogue One. We all cheered because it looked cool and it was cool, but now that we've seen Kenobi, we have to admit, that wasn't the last breath of a broken man. That was just Vader being Vader. Horrifying, ruthless. Theatrical in the worst possible way. So yeah, it's frustrating to realize we've been romanticizing a space fascist. But maybe Kenobi is the slap in the face we needed to finally stop pretending this guy was just misunderstood. There's a sadness to all this that's hard to shake, because deep down, we wanted Anakin to come back. We hoped that somewhere beneath all that black armor and robotic rage was still the guy who cared about people. The Jedi who once smiled, who once cried, but Kenobi just strips that hope away. It shows us a Vader who isn't struggling to reclaim himself, he's burying whatever scraps are left. There's that moment when Obi-Wan calls him Anakin, and he replies, I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. I killed Anakin, and it doesn't sound like grief. It sounds like pride. That line shattered something in me. Not because it's brutal, but because it's honest. There's no mask slipping, no flicker of remorse in his voice, just cold certainty. The Vader in Kenobi isn't begging to be saved. He's daring you to try. And Obi-Wan, poor Obi-Wan, he spends the whole show looking for that glimmer of his friend, only to realize there's nothing left but the echo of a scream. The way he breaks down after the fight, the way he says, "I'm sorry," it's not just guilt, it's mourning. He's grieving someone who's still standing right in front of him. That's what makes it hurt, not that Anakin died, but that he chose to die, again and again, with every cruel act, every swing of the saber, every step into the darkness. But let's be real, as terrifying as he is, Vader in Kenobi is also mesmerizing. He doesn't just show up, he dominates the screen. Every scene with him feels like it was pulled from a horror movie. The sound design alone makes your spine want to crawl out of your back. The way he moves is almost mythic. He doesn't run, he doesn't panic, he just arrives, like death in a cape. That moment when he stops a transport ship with the Force, rips it open like a sardine can, and then realizes he got tricked and barely flinches. That's not just powerful, it's godlike. You can see the fear in every character's face when he enters, and not because of who he was, but because of who he became. He's a one-man apocalypse, and the show wants you to feel that dread, that awe, that helplessness. And even Obi-Wan, legendary Jedi Master, veteran of the Clone Wars, hero of the Republic, can barely hold his ground against him. Vader doesn't just overpower him, he overwhelms him, physically, emotionally, psychologically. It's scary how effective he is, and somehow even scarier that he loves it. Vader in Kenobi isn't fueled by sorrow, he's fueled by dominance, and that makes him more dangerous than ever. And yet, despite all that, Kenobi still gives us a flicker of hope. Not through Vader, but through Obi-Wan himself. Because even after everything, even after the fire and the screams and the heartbreak, Obi-Wan still walks away. He doesn't kill Vader, not because he can't, but because he won't. That choice matters. He chooses to live with the pain instead of becoming part of it. That's what separates Jedi from Sith. That refusal to let rage define them. We see it in his training with Leia, in his reunion with Qui-Gon. He's not broken anymore, he's healing. And through that healing, we remember what Star Wars was always about. Not just power, but redemption. Not just loss, but resilience. Even seeing the hollow monster that Anakin became, Obi-Wan still honors the memory of the man he once loved. That's not weakness, that's strength. That's how hope survives in a galaxy ruled by fear. So maybe the story of Kenobi isn't about saving Vader. Maybe it's about saving yourself from Vader, by choosing to feel, to grieve, to let go, and walk away. And that's what makes it tragic. Because Kenobi doesn't redeem Vader, it reveals him. For the first time in the saga, we don't see him through the lens of potential or past mistakes. We see him as he is, a man who had every chance to turn back, and walked deeper into the fire anyway. The tragedy isn't that Anakin fell, it's that he stayed fallen, that he liked what he became, that he silenced the voice of Padma, ignored the pleas of his master, and chose power over peace, again and again. And yet, the story still ends with peace. Not for Vader, but for Obi-Wan, because by finally seeing the monster in front of him, he was able to stop chasing the ghost behind him. He forgave himself, even if Vader never would. That's the resolution Kenobi offers. Not closure, not justice, but truth. And sometimes, that's the only thing left when the light goes out. The truth of what someone really became, because Darth Vader isn't tragic anymore. He's terrifying. And Kenobi didn't just prove it, it dared us to accept it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my videos, please consider looking at my pinned comment and checking out the links for my Amazon storefront. It contains my favorite Legos, my gear in which I make videos, and comics that I read on a daily basis. I update it constantly, so please, take a moment and click on the link. On top of that, check out my second channel, Critical Analysis Hub Plus, and my third channel, Critical Analysis Hub XP. Just one click would go on a long way in supporting my channels and future in YouTube.